Hi everyone, Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Hope everyone is having a nice Wednesday afternoon. It is Wednesday. It means it's Crime Stoppers Day, and we have the one and only Jared Minary from the Lincoln Police Department in the building today. Jared, how are we doing on this Wednesday?
Doing okay. It's probably a good thing I'm the one and only. You know, they don't need more of me.
There doesn't need to be any more Jareds. We got a lot to talk about today.
We do. We have quite a few stories.
So, a couple new cases, but then we've been meaning to do this the last couple times you've been in, but talking about some of the cases that we have cleared through Crime Stoppers. And there are a number, and a number that you've seen on this segment before.
Absolutely. I think it's important to kind of highlight some of the cases we solve because obviously it's important for people to know that Crime Stoppers does work. It is actively solving cases, but also for those people that are giving good tips, it's a good way for them to know that's a good time to call in. See if you got a reward, or maybe you're not even interested and you just want to know that your case was cleared and you did some good work.
Yeah, we want to be giving money away here.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes and no. I will say Lincoln's been really good when you compare us across the nation to other programs. The amount of money we actually give out is way lower than most other areas that we've compared ourselves to.
Okay.
I can't give you the facts right now, but I can just say that I know that from what we've seen, most of the people in Lincoln aren't doing it for the money. They're doing it because they want to just keep our community safe and do the right thing. So
hey, that's even better. Even better. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll start off with, again, a couple of our new cases. And Christmas is obviously just a couple days away, lots of shopping, and so that's led to an uptick in shoplifting. And that's the theme of our first two cases. The first one, can you walk us through here, Jared, what we are seeing in these pictures and basically what happened? Oh, we got double Jareds on here.
Nobody wants to see two of me. There's only one and only. So basically, this is at the CVS over at 15th and South Street. And in this case, these two females come into the store. They're kind of walking around the store. The clerks kind of suspect they may be up to something. They had something in their hands, and then immediately that item disappeared. The clerks kind of just asked them where they put it down because they were going to put it back. And immediately the girls started using the B word at them and cussing at them and doing all kinds of angry yelling in the store, causing a big scene. The clerks ended up confronting them at the register at one point, and at that time, the girl that you see in the pink jacket, not this one in the gray, the other one, she ends up basically shoving an item, which was in a box, in the lady's face and hitting her in the face with it, kind of pushing her glasses back into her face. Man. So she had some light injuries, but obviously with an assault like that, we'd like to know who these two are. That's a little beyond just a simple shoplift. You're actually pushing it to where you're injuring someone. That can actually become a big problem.
Yeah.
And we also have a vehicle that they left in. That is a light-colored, we believe it's a Chevy Malibu with in-transits, and it has dark rims. This is a kind of a generic picture we found of it because the image of the car is a little kind of grainy, hard to see. But definitely something similar to that had in-transits in the window, and those wheels were probably like a dark color black.
Okay. So we're looking for, again, those two individuals, and it looks like assault. Did they actually leave anything or steal anything?
Well, they'll start working on that to make sure, but right now it's just an assault at this point. If they figure out that there was something stolen, they will definitely probably move that to some other kind of charge.
Okay, so an assault charge. And Jared, again, we talk about it every week, but can you tell us the best way for folks to get into contact with you if they know something on this?
Sure. So, of course, you can always contact the Lincoln Police Department at that 441-6000 number. That is our non-emergency dispatch number. You can talk to an officer there or leave a message for the officer on this case. If you want to stay anonymous or be eligible for a reward, the only way you can do that is to go through Crime Stoppers, and that has a couple of different ways you can contact them. Obviously, the phone number, 402-475-3600. You can go to LincolnCrimeStoppers.com to see this case and many other cases we're looking for right now and leave your tip online there. Or also, you can go and download the P3 app, and then you can report it through your P3 app, which does allow you to have some two-way communication with some of the people involved in Crime Stoppers, which is really handy.
And you mentioned it, because you did. I'll pull it up here. This is the Crime Stoppers webpage, which, again, you go here, LincolnCrimeStoppers.com. And, again, there's the case we're talking about right there, right first one, because this is probably the most recent one just this week.
That's number 2, because the next one is number 1 that we'll talk about just after this. So there it is.
No, there it is. All right. A little bit of a spoiler there.
Yeah, don't look yet.
Don't look, not yet. Okay, and so this happened again just a couple days ago. This was December 12th.
Right.
And the CVS at 15th and South.
That's correct.
All right, so our next case was December 4th, so about 2 weeks ago now.
Yep.
And it was at Gateway Mall. Can you kind of walk us through
So
This gentleman right here who is running for his life.
running away. So if you've been to the Gateway Mall, you know there's a little jewelry kiosk in the middle of the Gateway Mall. And what happens is this guy goes up to the counter. He asks the staff member there to show him a necklace. When she pulls the necklace out to show it to him, he basically just grabs it right out of her hand and takes off running through the mall. We were able to get some pictures. They're obviously not the best pictures. We'd like to see better, but we're putting them out there. Hopefully maybe somebody can identify this guy. One of the other things you might be keeping a lookout for is the necklace that he stole. It's a pretty significant medallion with Jesus on it. I don't know if Jesus would approve of the behavior here, but we are looking for that male and obviously that medallion. If somebody's seen it, maybe they can give us a good tip on either of those two. We look at the Jesus medallion is probably worth about $600. The gold chains are worth about $1,000. So he could be looking at a felony charge with this. So we're just kind of hoping somebody will give us a good tip on it.
And this looks like he looks younger. I mean, he looks like maybe a teenager here.
It's
or
possible.
Early
so
20s.
In this kind of case, what we're looking for is we don't know if he's late teens, early 20s. If we find out this is a juvenile, we're going to take him down off our Crime Stopper page right away.
Okay.
But until we can actually say who he is, he could be an adult. We just don't know at this point. So,
and pretty bold in the middle of Gateway Mall.
Yeah.
Especially during the holiday. You know, it was early December, but there's still probably plenty of people in the mall doing some shopping.
And if you remember, we had another situation. I don't believe it's related to this in any way, but we had another jewelry store specifically where they broke in the glass and they did all this. So obviously, if you're working at a jewelry store, this is something just to kind of keep an eye out and not be too overly anxious to hand jewelry to people when you're showing it off. But at the same time, obviously, you want to sell your product, so you kind of have to walk that line.
So. For in cases like this, whether it's the jewelry store, kiosk employee, the employee at CVS, what's your guys' recommendation when you guys come across situations like this?
As in, like, how to protect their
how to protect themselves.
How to protect themselves. Obviously, in any of these kind of cases, don't go chasing after them. Don't confront them. There have been times where we've seen people that do this kind of stuff. They are armed. So the last thing I want to see is somebody get hurt. Obviously, we've had some good Samaritans in the past that have followed them, maybe got a plate. And whereas that's a wonderful thing for us, it helps us with the investigation, we also just don't want to put people in jeopardy that they're going to be injured or maybe worse. So that's our main recommendation. Just keep yourself safe.
Try and remember faces, details, call the police right away. Don't chase them.
Absolutely.
Okay. And again, we'll show it again. But what's the best way to leave a tip on either one of these cases?
Again, you can call a non-emergency number for the police department, 441-6000. Go online to contact Crime Stoppers at LincolnCrimeStoppers.com. Call them at 475-3600. Or, of course, you can go to the P3 app and give a tip there.
Awesome. Okay. Now to kind of some of the fun stuff. I gotta pull up my email here because we got so many to go through. I want to make sure we're doing them in the right order here. Okay, so cases that we have cleared from Crime Stoppers. First one we want to talk about involved this video here, and we had a gentleman. Can you kind of walk us through, I guess, what happened in this video?
So this is back on September 20th. Basically, this guy takes his truck and parks it there. He runs inside. Unfortunately, this male comes walking by, notices that the truck is running, and hops in and just takes off in the truck. And you'll see he kind of has a little bit of difficulty getting out because there's some other traffic, but he doesn't seem to care. The owner of the truck sees his truck driving off and tries to chase after him. He actually gets a lift from another guy in another truck that you can see there, that gray truck, and they kind of tried to chase after him. Again, we were talking about this just a minute ago. Don't put yourself in danger. Not probably the best thing. He wasn't able to catch up with this truck, so we were just putting it out there hoping that somebody would give us a good tip. The cool thing about it is, obviously you can see this isn't a good video, but it was enough that we got 5 tips on this case, which is fantastic on a case where you have really poor images of your suspect. We currently do have a good suspect for this. We have a broadcast out for him. Recently just found out that the suspect is in jail at the state pen for auto theft out of Beatrice. So hopefully we'll be able to tie these cases all together and make a bigger case out of it as well.
Awesome.
So thanks to the tips on those.
Not that gentleman's first rodeo.
Yeah, I'm guessing not.
And swiping a truck there. All right. Well, that's good that we got him. Our next one that again you saw on this very channel was a bit of a struggle here, but we had a couple that put in a lot of work to try and get some coins out of a laundromat.
Yeah, we're not really talking felony amount here when you're stealing quarters out of a laundry machine, but obviously they're looking for some cash.
Yep.
And they're probably, in these kind of situations, they're probably using that cash for something else.
Yep.
Maybe they can't afford some drugs or something like that, so they're just kind of looking for a little extra for that day. So in this case, we did get some tips on this case. We had 13 of them that came rolling in, which is fantastic. Basically, if you remember, they used a bolt cutter to try to gain access to it. We had these images, and in the end, we had a great identification of Holly Rumery. We currently have a broadcast out for her to be cited in this case. We also have 2 active warrants out for her arrest for unrelated charges. So if you happen to see Holly and know where she is right now, we would appreciate a tip again on her to find out where she is. We do have some good tips on the male. We believe we have him identified, but that investigation is still continuing on that. But again, if it wasn't for the tips, we probably wouldn't be where we are on that case.
All right, yeah. So again, we think we have both of them. We just need to get in touch with them to pay them a holiday visit, right?
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
All right, next one that we have cleared, and I believe this person's already been cited, involved this camper here that was a little loose in a parking lot.
Yep. We had 8 different tips that came in on this one again.
We thought, because it's very
noticeable camper.
Recognizable.
Yeah, it kind of sticks out. So in this case, basically they were at the Russ's Market, 17th and Washington. They ended up hitting another vehicle and drove off. So we were just, of course, just looking for just a simple hit and run. We were able to track the owner down, and the owner was cited in this case. So again, fairly simple, but again, the victim of that is very happy that you get a cleared case on a Crime Stopper tip like that.
100%, absolutely. All right, next one we have here. This was a theft that occurred back in mid-October from an art gallery, I believe here in Lincoln. And these 2 individuals were caught on camera, and they had stolen. We had, which I think it's an interesting statue, a person in a mousetrap.
Yeah.
And this other bronze statue.
I had the name of it earlier, what they called the one in the mousetrap, and I'm drawing a blank on it. But these are bronze statues.
Is it Jared Minary on Crime Stoppers?
Yeah. It's catching a thief, maybe. So in this case, basically they were at the. I'm probably going to butcher this. It's the Keuchel Fine Arts Gallery, 12th and O Street. So I apologize to you guys if I mispronounced that. Okay. So basically, October 12th, these 2 and a kid in a stroller came in, and on video they noticed that they had taken those 2 statues we were talking about, and when this hit, we had 8 different tips that came in, and in the end, the male actually called in and said, "Hey, I saw myself on Crime Stoppers. I want to turn myself in." He was cited in this case. However, nobody can seem to find the statues to return them to the artist. Obviously, this artist is a local artist.
Wants the statues back.
They were just on exhibit, so he would really like his artwork back. So we're hoping that maybe somebody can tell us where they ended up. We don't know if they got pawned or they're sitting on somebody's shelf in their house looking fantastic. I'm sure the art dealer the art creator would be more than happy to sell those to you, so you can put them back on your shelf. But we would like to see if we can get those back as well for the artist.
So imagine you're at home, Jared, just sitting in your recliner, and you have the television on, and a Crime Stopper segment comes on that features you.
I'm hoping I'm never there.
Well, I don't think you ever will be. But hey, kudos to that guy for he turned himself in.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if a lot of people could do the same thing.
Yeah, we all make mistakes here and there. Some make bigger mistakes than others, and obviously this probably wasn't the biggest mistake people have made ever in life, but we do give kudos for people that do call in and turn themselves in. I think that's one of the nice things about Crime Stoppers that we've seen in the past is we do have a lot of people that'll be like, "Hey, I messed up. I'm willing to come in and get my ticket." And sometimes it's just a common mistake or something, and sometimes we can clear it up as well. So that's one reason we don't say you are the thief in this. We say you are a suspect in this. We want to hear your side of the story a lot of time.
There we go. All right, so again, if you know where these statues are, again, man in mousetrap, and bronze woman. Do you know about how big these were at all?
I don't. I mean, if you look at the mousetrap, I think it's like maybe at the most it's like a rat trap size.
Okay.
So they're not small,
huge.
but they're countertop size.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah, countertop size works. That works. But if you know where either one of those are, we are still looking. A couple cases, Jared. I don't know if we showed these on Crime Stoppers or not, but we're going to talk about them because they're cleared and they were cleared by tips. So
We did talk about this one. I know that.
Okay. All right. So walk us through this one.
So in this case, we had this guy that basically he ends up going to jail. Mom and a friend were watching the house. While they're there, all of a sudden the cameras in the house turned off. So mom goes over to check out what's going on. Why did the cameras get disconnected? And while they're there checking out the house and cleaning up the mess that for some reason has happened in the house, this guy just comes walking in the house. They were smart. They snapped a quick picture. So remember, they didn't chase him out to the car. They were safe. They just grabbed a picture and let him go. And we had 8 different tips identifying this guy. Some of the tips we got in this even included people giving us images like from Facebook or wherever they got them. So that's always helpful when you're giving a tip to give us, if you've got good information like that, send in those pictures. We'll take it. I mean, that can't hurt. So we are looking for Aaron Stednitz in this. We want to just catch up with him and interview him regarding this because we have pretty good evidence that is him in this video. Also, just kind of on a side note in this, one of those tips that I found kind of interesting is somebody quote saying, "We tell you who it is and you do nothing." I understand that when you give a tip, you think maybe it's like Hollywood and we're going to be able to solve this in half an hour. A lot of times these cases are very involved. I mean, just because you know it's him because you have contact with him, that doesn't mean the officer knows that specifically. So we have to find other ways to validate that tip. So it may be 100%. That's a great tip, and we 100% believe it. But we still have to prove it so that we don't put somebody innocent into the justice system when they didn't really do the crime. So if that makes sense, if you're out there and maybe this was the tip that you gave and you were upset because we hadn't done anything in this case, as you can see, we're still working on it. It just takes time.
We still have to operate under the presumption of innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely.
And so that is a good thing to remind everyone. Okay, and I think this is our last one.
Yep.
We had someone who was knocking on doors and rattling some windows.
Yep. So basically, this girl was caught on video, and I do believe this one was on 10/11 as well. I think maybe last week. And basically what she does is she's kind of just kicking on these doors, trying to get into the house. Didn't know what was happening initially. Obviously scared the homeowner that was inside the house, the way that the lady went to multiple doors. It wasn't just like one door even. We got 6 tips on this case. The great thing about this is we were able to identify this female as Amy Jackson. We currently have a broadcast out for her for attempted burglary or a burglary, and she also at this point has a warrant for fail to appear. So even regardless of this case, we are looking for her. So if you do know Amy Jackson, we would definitely like to catch up with her and wish her a Merry Christmas as well.
Okay. Wow. Okay. We went through a lot there, Jared. We went through a lot. So again, I'm going to throw this up. We don't have to necessarily go through it. But again, all of these, oops, that's not the right one. This is the right one. All of these cases, again, if you check out Lincoln-Crimestoppers.com, man, you know what? It's super fun to sit here and talk about these. I don't know if any of them or some of them were solved because someone was watching the segment that we're doing, but even one cleared case from a segment like this, it would be pretty neat. So again, 402-441-6000 to speak with an officer, 475-3600 for an anonymous tip, crimestoppers.com. You can leave a tip there in that P3 app as well. So again, all of that is super good stuff, Jared. So I think we've done pretty good this year.
Yeah, I think we've done really good. Considering I'll probably at the end of the year, we're going to go through our stats. We'll try to come up with some good stats on our clearance rates. Typically, we clear around, hit and miss about 40% of our cases. And whereas that may not sound great to most people, if you look at it from a law enforcement perspective, if you get a 20% clearance rate in law enforcement, that's considered a very high clearance rate. You're doing really well. You're a top 10 city kind of thing, right?
Wow. Okay.
Lincoln's been in that category for quite a while. And so if we're clearing 40% of these cases, that's great. Now, granted, that 20% is going to take every case that a police department does, those ones that don't have good images or don't have good places to lead or just kind of dead-end cases. So we already have an advantage because we got great pictures or even poor pictures with the possibility. But still, a 40% clearance rate, that's not going to hurt your crime stats overall for a city.
Well, and we've talked about, too, sometimes, not every crime that we show on here, but sometimes these small crimes that get cleared end up leading to bigger fish and bigger crimes.
Absolutely. It's very common, like I was just saying earlier about how, maybe this laundry kind of case where they're stealing maybe, what, I don't know, get you out of a laundry machine, $100 maybe. Let's just say $100. That's not a big case, but if they're involved in meth, and maybe they have meth on them, they're users, it may lead to dealers, it may lead to much, much bigger cases that are impacting Lincoln in much bigger ways. I've seen cases where we've had people that are a basic shoplift that end up being involved in homicides. And because they were involved in shoplifts, we've seen them, we know who they are. It makes it easier for us to follow up on that homicide later in the day.
All good things.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I do want to say one other thing. We've talked about all of these tips that are coming in on these cases, like 8 tips, 13 tips that come in. I just want to reiterate, that's amazing. It's great that we're getting that many tips on some of these cases when people recognize them, but you also have to keep in mind, if you do want to reward, you need to be the
anonymous, and you need to have the best information.
And the first information.
And the first information.
So if you know that this is Joe Blow, right, you want to say that's who it is, the next guy that calls in and says it's Joe Blow is not going to get eligible for that reward because we already know that information. Now, maybe you know where he works or where he's staying with his baby mama or whatever it is, right? So there may be added information, so we could actually have maybe 1 or 2 rewards for a case because the first guy knew it was Joe Blow, the second person knew where this guy was staying and gave us enough information we could arrest him.
So it's kind of a little bit of a sliding scale.
Exactly.
On our rewards.
Yep. But if you're the 13th person calling in with the same information, you're not going to be eligible for a reward on those.
But we really appreciate you calling in.
Absolutely, because you never know. It's like the lottery, I guess.
That is 100%. But I would say a lot better odds, though. So you said like 13 tips on the one case. Is that like one of the higher amounts that you guys have seen, like on a case? I guess. Is there a general kind of like we get about X tips per case?
I would say it depends on the case, obviously.
Yeah.
So, like in the case with Tyler, who's missing right now, we've had, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 tips on that case, it'd be my guess right now. So that's a much higher profile case. It's a much bigger case. So obviously people are trying to help us out with anything we get. Obviously some of the tips are stuff that's like, I mean, what are we going to do with that? That's not some information we can really follow up on, or maybe we know it's not accurate because of the investigation, the way it's going, and we're able to get rid of those tips pretty quick. But in a case where it's like a simple shoplift, it may just be 13 people saying, I know that name, and that's it. And so it really just depends. We have several cases we've talked about. We still have no tips at all. So
I know you don't have your paper right in front of you, but just because we had such good video of the cash box that I think we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Any tips on the cash box?
Actually, I just looked that up today. I know we had 1 name that came in. I don't know where we are with that name yet. So.
Well, we will hear down the line in 2024 when we talk about cleared cases again, hopefully, right?
Let's hope, knock on wood. I only see plexiglass here.
Plexiglass. All right. Well, Jared, again, I appreciate you as always for coming in. Hope you have a happy holiday. Thanks again so much for everything that you've done this year. We look forward to continuing this again through 2024.
Same to you, and thanks to everybody in Lincoln for helping us out.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching again today. As always, keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online. This is it for me. I'm on vacation now. So
good for you.
Everyone has a happy holiday and a happy new year. Yes, right. Stays out of trouble. Don't end up on Crime Stoppers here with us.